Hello everyone, straight from Brazil to the world, you are on the Boosted Man channel. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos.
The invisible board. It always begins subtly. She doesn't argue. She doesn't accuse. She simply shifts, slows down, pulls away, grows quiet. And in that silence, something inside you unravels. Your mind races, your chest tightens, the doubt begins to crawl in. But what's really happening isn't rejection. It's an invisible test of your emotional presence. Every woman, consciously or not, feels the state of a man's inner world. She senses your energy, your tone, your posture, your breath. She's not watching your words, she's reading your frequency. And she wants to know one thing. Does your desire come from fear of losing her? Or from fullness? From the ability to remain whole even in uncertainty? That's when the game begins. Not through manipulation, through energy. She presses your emotional center to see if it truly exists. What she's seeking isn't control, it's certainty. The certainty that she's standing before a man who doesn't collapse at the first sign of absence. A man who stays grounded when the world shakes. Female mind games aren't about deceit, they're about perception. Every silence, every pause, every mirror she holds up is a reflection of your state. They show whether you rule your emotions or they rule you. And it's in that invisible field that a man either falls or awakens. The invisible test of emotional detachment. Every woman at some point creates distance, not to punish you, but to feel, to sense what happens when she withdraws her warmth, to see if your world still stands without her presence. Most men panic. They fill the silence with texts, explanations, attempts to fix it. But the more they chase, the more the silence devours them. Because what's being tested isn't your love, it's your center. She doesn't want to know how much you love her. She wants to know where that love comes from. If her distance makes you fall apart, the message is clear. Your stability depends on her. But if she steps away and you remain calm, the dynamic shifts completely. She feels something rare, a man whose presence doesn't dissolve. Presence isn't indifference. It's stillness in the storm. It's power without tension. It's strength that doesn't need validation. When she sees that your world doesn't orbit hers, desire reverses direction. She's drawn not to your effort, but to your solidity. You stop chasing and start attracting. The woman testing emotional detachment isn't trying to leave you. She's trying to discover if you can hold the space when she pulls away. And when she feels that your peace is real, not performed, the game moves to a higher level. The power returns to your side of the board, the inverted mirror of validation. After the silence comes the mirror. She doesn't withdraw anymore. She gets closer, but this time with small provocations. She mentions another man. She compares. She watches. Behind every remark lies a silent question. Where does your worth come from? This second game isn't about love, cause it's about ego. She wants to see if your confidence is real or collapses when you're not the center of attention. The insecure man takes the bait. He competes, explains, tries to prove himself. But the more he tries, the more fear leaks through. The fear of not being enough, of being replaced. And fear has a scent. Women sense it instantly. The conscious man, however, sees the mirror for what it is. He realizes it's not about the other man. It's about his reaction. She's reflecting his need for validation. And in the space between pride and silence, true power emerges. He doesn't react. He doesn't defend. He simply observes. And what she feels in that calm is rare. Stability. Validation is the food of the male ego, but the man who no longer needs it is untouchable. And the untouchable is magnetic. While the insecure seek approval, the centered simply are. He doesn't chase her reflection, he becomes the mirror. And when the feminine energy feels that, the game flips. She stops testing and starts seeking his gaze again. The mirror was never meant to humiliate the man. It was meant to reveal whether he can stand without being seen. And when he becomes his own light, the mirror shatters. Silence becomes power, the hidden dance of emotional control. Then comes the quietest phase, where words lose their power. It's no longer about dialogue, but energy. She draws close, then withdraws. She provokes desire, then cools it. She ignites the fire, then denies it. Every move is part of a hidden dance designed to read your rhythm. Women feel vibration. They sense when a man's desire flows from fullness, and when it leaks from anxiety. They feel when he leads from presence, and when he reacts from need. What she truly seeks is simple, but rare. A man who can stand still while his body burns. This is the most subtle, most dangerous game, the dance of control. She provokes your instinct to see if you master it. And this is where most men fall. They confuse intensity with depth, emotion with chaos, desire with urgency. But true power doesn't explode, it contains. The mature man doesn't repress desire, he channels it. He feels the fire without being consumed, looks into the abyss, but doesn't fall. That quiet dominance is what draws her in, because it embodies what the feminine instinct craves most, a masculine force that remains conscious within its own hunger. When she realizes she can't pull you off balance, the game ends, not because she gave up, but because she found what she was unconsciously seeking, a man who leads without controlling, desires without losing himself, touches without taking. The hidden dance of emotional control is not about domination, it's about frequency. When your presence becomes rhythm itself, she stops testing, because the very thing she tried to shake has become the ground where she can finally rest. The end of the games. Once you understand the three games, the silence, the mirror, and the dance, everything changes. You realize it was never her testing you. It was life itself, using her as a mirror to expose what inside you still seeks validation. The test of detachment taught you that presence is stronger than effort. The mirror of validation showed you that worth isn't proven, it's embodied. And the dance of control revealed that power isn't domination, it's rhythm. In truth, every mind game is a reflection of your own emotional maturity. She responds to your vibration, not your promises. If there's chaos inside you, she feels it and mirrors it. If there's calm, she softens and surrenders. And that's when the game dissolves, because the awakened man no longer plays, he observes. He desires without attachment. He loves without losing himself. And in that stillness, he becomes rare. She stops testing. She starts seeking, not because you convinced her, but because your energy has become the place where her feminine wants to rest. Power was never about making her choose you. It was about becoming the kind of man who never needed to be chosen. Because the true prize was never her attention, it was mastery over yourself. When a man owns himself, no game can shake him, no absence can weaken him, no mirror can confuse him, because he has become the mirror. And in that silence, magnetic, grounded, unbreakable, the feminine finally surrenders.